Well, the #2 man in the House of Representatives will soon be out of work. In a surprising upset, Majority Leader Eric Cantor was defeated by Tea Party-backed challenger David Brat in last week's Republican primary in Virginia. Cantor is the first sitting Majority Leader in American history to lose his primary. He plans to resign as Majority Leader at the end of next month. The upset was a big win for the Tea Party wing of the Republican Party, but many of his constituents say they voted for his opponent because they felt ignored. So what does Cantor's defeat mean for the prospects of other Tea Party-backed candidates this fall? Well, that is our topic this half hour. We also want to hear from you, so please share your thoughts on Facebook and on Twitter, and we may just share them on the air. Now, in the newsroom this morning is Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico, news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, what's the deal here?
Well, you know, we have to analyze this in both in a box and outside that same box because the Tea Party nationwide didn't do as well in this last primaries as they thought they would do. Save and except you look at this Eric Cantor nuclear bomb that went off. And when you look at what happened, he was ahead in the polls. He outspent his opponent 10-1, maybe bigger than that, and lost. And the loss can be tied to several factors as we analyze this. First is that he wasn't even there on Election Day. He was in Washington, and so that disconnect with voters may have been there. And he moderated his position at the last few weeks and said something very moderate about immigration reform. This is a guy who had been a Tea Party darling up until the last 2 years.
Right. It's all of the above, a little bit of all of the above as to why he lost. His constituents felt that he lost touch with them. Several were reported to say that they went to his office and they felt ignored. The Tea Party actually helped him many years. They brought him in. The Tea Party leaders in his area felt that they were being ignored. And Brat, his opponent, just dug his heels in. He had 2 staffers compared to Cantor's 29. And he decided no matter what polls Cantor was releasing, he's going to dig his heels in and he's going to go in there and he's going to work hard. Another thing you have to realize about the Tea Party is that, and it's not just a Tea Party thing, it's just overwhelmingly, there's a surge going on about anti-incumbents. And it's across the board. You're seeing voters, Democrats and Republicans, are displeased with a lot of their congressmen. And a lot of the incumbents are going to feel the heat.
Let's talk about that, Mustafa. Did his ambition hurt him? I mean, it was clear that he wanted to be the Speaker of the House. His moderating of his views in the last few years tends to look at maybe a presidential race coming up. Is that what that cost him his race?
In a big way, and Jackie's right, in the sense that there is an anti-establishment sentiment, and that anti-establishment movement is really big within the Tea Party. If you look at it, Eric Cantor lost by 7,000 votes. There are over 750,000 people that live in the district. Almost 300,000 people voted in 2012. So it's a marginal fractional percentage of people that have flipped that vote. But what's happening now is because of his loss, just like in Texas, the Tea Party is the new Texas Republican Party. Nationally, the Tea Party's taken over the agenda of the Republican Party, and that is to the detriment of their party.
And let's talk about that when we come back, Jackie. Is it the simple fact that it's not conservative enough to be a part of the Tea Party anymore? He's got one moderate view and he loses. We'll talk about that coming back. But let's go to Donnelly. She's monitoring our social media.
Yeah, you know, so many people on social media want to know if this is a trend and if we'll see more Republicans sort of leaning toward the Tea Party if they're not getting what they need from the candidates currently in office.
Well, and that's really the question that it seems that the Tea Party has moved so far to the right, Jackie Bally. Here you got Eric Cantor, who was a Tea Party darling, makes one moderate move and he's out.
That's not why he lost. It was a poorly run campaign. He ignored his constituents. He ignored his base. You saw the South Carolina gentleman who was in a primary runoff. He felt that had the same position as Cantor on immigration. He won handedly. So it's not because he tried to soften his position on immigration. It's because he ignored his base. He ignored his constituents. Many people felt that he became too arrogant. He was sitting in Starbucks in Washington during the election day.
I don't think that's a big problem for him. But is the Tea Party moving the party so far to the right that nobody can fit the mold?
Well, I think the Tea Party controls the agenda for the Republicans. Republican Party. It's no longer the Republican Party agenda, it's the Tea Party agenda. And that agenda is an anti-establishment. It's not just conservative, but there's some elements of it, like you saw on the Texas Republican Party platform, that just aren't in step with Americans and with mainstream Republicans.
We're almost out of time. We've got less than 30 seconds. But
Sure.
if this anti-incumbent mentality that you're talking about, doesn't that tend to hurt the Republican Party at the end of the day? Here, you're losing the number 2 guy in the House.
The anti-incumbent is not just Republicans.
I understand
Mustafa
that.
has said himself that voters across the board, Democrats and Republicans, they are not happy with their current congressman. So the anti-incumbency is going across party lines.
Okay, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back in the next hour with 2 really, really good stories.
And you know what, guys? I am looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
All right.